Hi, thank you for joining. What I wanted to go over today were the schematics that I use to restore, repair these older radios. Basically, there are four companies you can use for these schematics. M.N. Bettman's most often needed diagrams, which has been around from 1926, and they actually published to about 1979. Then there's Ryder's Perpetual Troubleshooting Manual, which has been around about 1931 to 1954. There's Sam PhotoFact, which is not just a diagram, but also photographs, hence the name PhotoFact. And they started about 1946, and they may still be in business, but under a different name. And finally, it's the companies that make radios specifically have their own set of annual manuals or service notes, such as RCA, General Electric, Philco, and whatnot. But what I wanted to show you here was we have a Sam's PhotoFact on the left, and on the right we have a Bettman's diagram, Ryder's diagram. And as I was looking at the radio, because I always like, before I start to work on it, to do a detailed analysis of all the components, I noticed that the number of capacitors were different in both the schematic compared to the radio. So let me zoom in here, and you can see what I mean. I'm going to move this up a little. Good. And I'm going to do the same on the diagram here. Now, if you look at it, you're going to notice something. Let me move this over a little. So coming out of the 12 SA7 converter tube, out of pin 1, 2, 3, 4, you will see it's coming down here, following the line, and coming into this connector. If we do the same thing over here on the Bettman, coming down, following through, and you notice there's a C7 condenser or capacitor that goes to ground. That's missing in this diagram. So the point of this is you can't always rely on the schematics to tell you the truth. You kind of have to use some common sense. Now the truth is that it probably doesn't matter for this particular one, because it's just it goes to the ground, so it's probably just a noise suppressor. But it's always good to get as many schematics as you can. I mean, you can usually get them online, mostly for free. Maybe not the Sam's, but the other ones. And as I was looking at this one in more detail, let me make this full screen. Whoops, I noticed that down here, in the page, I'm not going to be able to take it down. Down here, it says on some sets, C13 condenser was connected from the plate to the screen grid of the output tube instead of from the plate to the cathode. And this is the one that I noticed. On some sets, not have the B+ is a bypass condenser, C7, from the screen lug of the 12SA7 tube socket to the chassis. So you always have to do a visual inspection before you start. That's definitely going to help you out when you do this analysis, and always look at the schematic. You can always restore a radio without a schematic, but I wouldn't recommend it. And again, if you can get multiple schematics, it's always better, because you can really see if there are any differences. Many radios have multiple chassis, and even within the same chassis, as in this case, multiple components even for the same radio. So I hope that helped. And thank you. We'll continue in a moment.